When 10-year-old Kai Musk's homemade rocket model is purposefully broken by bullies during show and tell, it's just another painful day in a long line of ordeals. The son of the world's most famous rocket builder cannot escape the taunts of Rocket Boy and Alien, who follow him through the halls of Westlake Academy. But when his personal journal, which contains designs for Mars colonies, is destroyed as a cruel prank, something finally breaks inside him. Kai finally tells his father what he has been going through for months. What happens next will have far-reaching consequences for schools across the country, not just Kai's. Because Elon Musk does more than just console his son, he introduces a technological solution that will forever alter how we think about bullying. And the most stunning part? The world-changing innovation had been hiding in plain sight all along, on the soggy pages of a bullied boy's ruined journal. Kai Musk walked into Mrs. Allen's 5th-grade classroom, clutching his homemade rocket. Today was show and tell, and he'd spent 3 weekends building this rocket with his father. It wasn't just a model rocket. It had tiny solar panels, realistic thrusters, and a miniature crew cabin with fold-down seats. Remember to keep your head up, his father had told him that morning. What you made is unique. Don't let anyone tell you differently. That was easy for his father to say. Elon Musk was the most well-known rocket builder in the world. Nobody ever laughed at him or called him names. Kai slid into his seat near the back of the classroom, carefully placing the rocket inside his desk. He had learned the hard way not to leave items out where other children could take them. What's that, Rocket Boy? Another space toy? Brady Thompson's voice emerged from behind him. Brady was the tallest kid in 5th grade, with perfect hair and expensive sneakers that lit up as he walked. Kai didn't respond. He never did. It only made matters worse. "Hello, I'm talking to you, alien boy." Brady poked him hard in the back. Mrs. Allen clapped her hands. "Good morning, everyone. Take your seats, please. We have a full schedule today, beginning with show and tell." Kai's stomach tightened into knots. He had begged to be last, hoping that some kids would leave early for band practice or something. No such luck. One by one, the children made their way to the front of the room. Emma displayed her soccer trophy. Tyler brought a pet turtle. Zara performed a dance routine that she made up. Kai then had his turn. Mrs. Allen smiled encouragingly as she announced that Kai would be up next. As he walked to the front of the class, his legs felt as if they were full of cement. He held the rocket with both hands, attempting to keep them from shaking. "This is a model of the Starship," Kai said, barely above a whisper. "It's the rocket my father's company is developing to transport people to Mars someday." "Speak up, Kai." Mrs. Allen replied, "We can't hear you." Kai cleared his throat. "This rocket will be the largest ever built. I made this model with my father. It took 3 weekends. Did your father build it for you, or did you help?" Brady asked with a smirk. Kai claimed that I did the majority of it, but this was not entirely accurate. His father had been very helpful, especially with the small solar panels. But Kai had designed the crew cabin himself and painted every detail. "The cool thing about it is that the nose cone can open," Kai explained, finding his voice. He carefully opened the top of the rocket to reveal the detailed interior. Inside, there is space for astronauts and supplies for the long journey to Mars. A few kids leaned forward in their seats. Kai felt a glimmer of hope for a brief moment. Maybe they really thought it was cool. "Does your father know you took his belongings to school?" Brady called out. Several children laughed. Kai's face burned. Mrs. Allen told Brady, "That's enough." But she was smiling slightly, as if she thought it was funny. "Actually, my father helped me build this for a show and tell," Kai said, his voice rising. "He claims that Mars will require scientists, engineers, and doctors, just as Earth does, people who build things and solve problems." He noticed Zara nodding. Tyler leaned in to get a better look at the rocket. "The first Mars colony will most likely have only 100 people," Kai added, feeling braver. They will have to grow their own food and produce oxygen from Martian soil. It's going to be the greatest adventure in human history. Thank you, Kai, Mrs. Allen said. That is very interesting. Who wants to go next? Kai carefully closed the nose cone and began returning to his seat. He could feel eyes on him, but for once they didn't appear malicious. A few kids seemed impressed. Then his foot got caught on something. The floor rushed up to greet him. The rocket flew out of his hands and landed with a sickening crack. Laughter erupted around him. Kai looked up to see Brady quickly reposition his foot beneath his desk. The rocket lay in pieces. The nose cone snapped off. The small solar panels were scattered across the floor. The crew cabin he had worked so hard on was destroyed. "Oh, Kai, be careful," Mrs. Allen warned, rushing over. "Class, calm down. It was just an accident, but it was not an accident." Kai and Brady both knew it. As Kai gathered the broken pieces, Brady whispered, "You should call your daddy and have him build you a new one." Kai did not cry. Not present. He kept it all inside as he picked up each piece of his rocket and placed them in his backpack. He sat through the remainder of show and tell, math and reading class, and lunch, where he sat alone as usual. It wasn't until he got home that afternoon that the tears began. "How was school, Kai?" Ms. Patel, his nanny, inquired as he walked through the door. "Fine," he muttered as he walked straight to his room. "Don't you want a snack? I made the granola bars you like." "I am not hungry." In his room, Kai carefully removed the broken rocket pieces and placed them on his desk. Perhaps he can fix it. Perhaps his father could help him fix it. But that would entail telling his father what had happened, and Kai couldn't bear the thought of his father's reaction when he learned about the broken rocket. Regarding the names they called him. Regarding how the teacher did nothing. His father was the most courageous person Kai knew. He built massive rockets and sent them into space. He was not afraid of anything. What would he think of a son who couldn't even manage 5th grade? Kai shoved the rocket pieces into his drawer and crawled into bed without changing his clothes. Hours later, he heard the front door opening. His father was home early for once. He usually worked well past Kai's bedtime. Kai pretended to be asleep when his bedroom door opened. "Kai, are you awake, buddy?" His father's voice was soft in the darkness. Kai kept his eyes closed, but he sensed his father watching him. The edge of the bed sank slightly as his father sat down. A gentle hand brushed the hair off his brow. Ms. Patel stated, "You did not eat dinner," to which his father responded quietly. "Having a difficult day at school?" Kai opened his eyes. Even in the dim light of the hallway, he could see his father was tired. He worked extremely hard all the time. He didn't need Kai's stupid problems. "It's nothing, Dad," Kai replied. "It's just kid stuff." His father examined his face. "Your eyes are red." Kai looked away. "I am just tired." His father was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "You know, sometimes kids who are bullied as children go on to change the world as adults. Is this what happened to you?" Kai inquired before he could stop himself. "Something like that," his father said with a slight smile. "Want to discuss it?" Kai shakes his head. "It's actually nothing." His father seemed to want to say more, but instead he squeezed Kai's shoulder. "Get some sleep, buddy. Tomorrow is another day." After his father left, Kai stared at the stars on his ceiling that glowed in the dark. Tomorrow would be another day. But he knew it would not be better. And neither would the day after. Or the day after. That's because at Westlake Academy, he was always Rocket Boy, the strange kid with the famous father. And nothing will ever change that. 3 weeks later, the situation at Westlake Academy wasn't just bad. They were worse. Following the broken rocket incident, Brady and his friends devised a new game. They called it Alien. The rules were simple. push Kai around at recess, take his belongings, and claim they were conducting tests to determine whether he was human or an alien robot his father had built. He never cries, Kai overheard Brady tell Owen during lunch. When you hurt someone, they cry. He must be a robot. Owen laughed. Maybe he's from Mars. That explains why he is so obsessed with it. Kai stabbed his macaroni and cheese with a fork. He sat alone at the end of a long table, as is customary. Zara used to sit with him occasionally, but she was not present today. Without her, the table seemed enormous. Hey, Martian, Brady's voice echoed throughout the cafeteria. We need to conduct additional tests. Kai looked up to see Brady and 3 other boys coming his way. He quickly stuffed the remainder of his lunch into his mouth, grabbed his backpack, and stood up to depart. Where are you going, Rocket Boy? Brady cut him off before he got to the exit. The laboratory requires more alien samples. Leave me alone, Kai said, attempting to get past them. The boys formed a circle around him. Brady reached out to grab Kai's backpack. What do we have here? Secret alien technology? Brady unzipped the backpack and began rummaging around. Give it back. Kai attempted to grab his bag, but Owen pushed him away. Look at this. Brady took out Kai's journal. The cover was dark blue and featured silver stars. Inside were Kai's drawings and notes on rockets, Mars habitats, and spacesuits, which he had been working on for months. Brady read the plans for the Martian colony aloud in a mocking tone. Guys, I believe we found proof. He is really planning an alien invasion. The other boys laughed. Kai felt his face burn. That is private. Give it back. Kai attempted to sound brave, but his voice shook. Brady flipped through the pages, saying, if it's about invading Earth, the people have a right to know. Wow, you truly are a freak. Who spends time drawing rocket toilets? Kai muttered, it's a waste recycling system for long-duration space flights.
This made the boys laugh harder. Brady tossed the journal to Owen, who pretended to read it with great enthusiasm. Oh, no, his alien poop is about to attack us.
Owen cried. Kai lunged for the journal, but Owen tossed it to Brady, who held it high above his head, out of Kai's reach. Jump, alien!
Brady taunted. When a teacher walked by, the boys immediately quieted. Mrs. Rodriguez gave them a quick glance before continuing to walk.
She'd seen the boys gather around Kai before, but they'd always claimed they were just talking. Please, just give it back, Kai said quietly after the teacher had left. Okay, go get it. Brady smirked and tossed the journal across the cafeteria. It skidded across the floor, landing in a puddle of spilled milk. The bell rang to signal the end of lunch.
The boys laughed and walked away, leaving Kai to retrieve his soaked journal. The pages were wet, with ink running in blue rivers across his meticulous drawings, months of work ruined in seconds. Mrs. Allen frowned at Kai for arriving late to class.
His wet journal created a damp spot in his backpack for the rest of the day. Kai almost dashed to the pickup area as the final bell rang, desperate to get away. To his surprise, Ms. Patel was not waiting in the car line, but rather his father's black Tesla. Dad, Kai said as he slid into the passenger seat. Hi, buddy, his father said with a smile. I thought I would surprise you. The test flight was rescheduled, so I'm yours for the afternoon. Kai attempted to smile back, but his face would not cooperate. Everything okay? His father inquired, pulling away from the school. Yes, Kai replied automatically. His father gave him a quick glance, surprised to see him. I thought we could work on the new rocket design you were talking about. The one with an expandable habitat section. Kai's stomach twisted. That design appeared in his journal. The journal was now a soggy mess in his backpack. So, maybe tomorrow? I'm feeling tired today. His father looked disappointed but nodded. Okay, how about ice cream instead? There's a new place near the park. Okay, Kai agreed, relieved that his father was not pushing the rocket thing. Kai chose his favorite ice cream flavor, chocolate with rainbow sprinkles. His father ordered plain vanilla, as he always does. They sat at a small table near the window. So his father said after a few minutes of silence. "How is school going? Are you learning anything interesting?" Kai shrugged. "Not really." "How about the science project you mentioned? What about Mars colonization?" "It's fine," Kai muttered, his gaze fixed on his ice cream. His father put down his spoon. "Kai, is there anything going on at school that I should know about?" "No," Kai replied quickly. "Too quick." His father's eyes narrowed slightly. "You know you can tell me anything, right? If there's an issue." "There is no problem," Kai interrupted. "School is just boring." His father didn't appear convinced, but he didn't press further. They ate their ice cream mostly in silence. When they arrived home, Kai went straight to his room, claiming he had homework. He closed the door and took out his wet journal. The pages were wrinkled and stiffer now. In many places, the ink had become too blurry to recognize. He tossed it into the trash can next to his desk. Kai cried for the first time since the rocket had broken. Not just a few tears, but deep, shaking sobs that he muffled with his pillow so his father couldn't hear. He cried until his chest hurt, and his eyes stung until no tears remained. When he did finally sit up, he noticed his father standing in the doorway. "Kai." His father's voice was soft and worried. Kai wipes his face with his sleeve. "I did not hear." "You knock." "I did. Twice." His father entered and sat on the bed beside him. He noticed a crumpled journal in the trash. "Whatever happened to your notebook?" Kai tried to make up a lie, but he was too tired. Too empty. It became wet. His father retrieved the journal from the trash and carefully opened it. The pages got stuck. Together, the drawings are barely visible through the stains. "How did it become wet?" his father asked, his voice unusually calm. Kai stared at the floor. "Some children at lunchtime. They took my backpack. They were playing keep away with it. The journal fell into a puddle." "The same kids who destroyed your rocket?" Kai nodded. His father took a deep breath. "How long has it been going on?" Kai admitted it had been a while. "Since the beginning of the year, I believe." "That's nearly 3 months, Kai. Why haven't you told me?" Kai could not meet his father's gaze. "I did not want you to believe I was weak." "Weak?" "Kai, look at me." His father waited until Kai raised his head. "Being bullied does not make you weaker. Not telling anyone about it does not make you stronger. It simply means you're suffering alone when you don't have to." Tears threatened again, but Kai held back. "I tried to tell Mrs. Allen once. She told me that kids will be kids and that I should try harder to fit in." His father's expression darkened. "That's it," he said, standing up. "I am calling the school. This is the end." "No, Dad." Kai jumped up in panic. "That'll only make things worse. They'll call me a tattletale, and things will get even worse." "So what do you want me to do?" his father asked, his voice rising in frustration. "I can't just let this happen." Kai said, "I want to be homeschooled or attend a different school. Please get me out of there." His father ran a hand through his hair. Kai recognized a gesture that indicated he was deeply upset. For a long time, he simply stood there, looking at Kai with a mix of sadness and anger. "You know what?" his father finally spoke. "I've got a better idea." "For what?" "To handle this situation. But I'll need your help." Kai did not understand. "What do you mean?" "I think there is a way to fix this. Not just you, but everyone. Kid who is bullied." "How?" Kai asked. I should think about it more. Talk to some people, his father said. But first, I need you to stay brave for a little longer. Can you do that? Kai looked at his father and nodded slowly. For the first time in weeks, he felt more than dread about going to school. It wasn't exactly hope. Not yet. But it was close. The next morning, Kai awoke to find his father already awake and preparing breakfast. This was strange. His father was never up so early unless he had an important rocket launch. Good morning, his father said, flipping pancakes. Hungry? Kai nodded and slid into a stool at the kitchen counter. Are they blueberries? And chocolate chip, his father confirmed. I was unsure which you would prefer, so I made both. Kai watched his father move around the kitchen. He was dressed in a regular black t-shirt rather than his usual work attire. Aren't you going to work today? Kai asked. Nope. I called in late. His father placed a stack of pancakes in front of Kai. We have some important business to take care of. First. What is your business? His father smiled. You will see. Eat up. We leave in 20 minutes. Instead of heading to school, his father drove them to the SpaceX facility. Kai had been there numerous times before, but today felt different. They bypassed the main entrance and entered through a side door that required his father's thumbprint to open. They walked down a hallway into a room Kai had never seen before. The sign on the door read Advanced Projects Laboratory. Inside, engineers worked on computers and examined something on a central table. Please get everyone out for a few minutes. Except for you, Prisha, his father said. The engineers looked up in surprise, but quickly gathered their belongings and exited. Only a woman wearing short black hair and bright blue glasses remained. Hello, this is Prisha Mehta. She is the lead engineer for our most advanced AI systems. His father explained. Prisha greeted Kai with a warm smile. Your father is constantly talking about you. Kai mumbled a shy greeting. Prisha, I need a favor, his father said. And it will sound strange. Prisha raised an eyebrow but did not respond. I need your assistance in designing a teaching assistant robot. One that can be implemented in elementary and middle schools. Prisha seemed surprised. A teaching robot? This is quite different from our usual projects. Not just any teaching robot, his father added. This one requires special capabilities. He looked at Kai. It must be able to monitor and record incidents of bullying. Kai's eyes widened. Was it his father's plan? Prisha tapped her chin and said something interesting. We could adapt some of the visual recognition systems we've been developing for Mars rover. They are intended to identify and categorize geological formations. However, with some modifications, they could track human interactions and identify concerning patterns. Exactly, his father nodded. And it would have to be friendly and non-threatening. Something that children would accept in their environment. Prisha also mentioned teachers.
They'd have to see it as beneficial, not intrusive. They began talking about technical details that Kai didn't fully understand. Something about facial recognition, behavioral pattern analysis, and secure data transmission protocols.
How soon might we have a working prototype? His father finally asked. Prisha thought for a moment. 2 weeks for a basic version. Longer for a polished product. Make it one, his father replied. Prisha laughed. Why aren't I surprised? I'll need to bring in some team members from other projects. Whatever you need. This is a top priority. After they left the lab, Kai couldn't stop asking questions. Are you truly building a robot for my school? Not just for your school, his father replied. But, indeed, yours will be the first. He checked his watch. Speaking of which, we still have one stop to make this morning. Kai's stomach dropped as he realized where they were headed. Are we still attending school? Now? Trust me, his father said. This is part of the plan. When they arrived at the school parking lot, classes had already started. Kai felt a knot of anxiety as they walked through the empty corridors. As they passed, children and teachers stared through classroom windows. Even from a distance, Kai could see Brady's shocked expression as they passed by. When they walked into Principal Davis's office, the secretary jumped. "Mr. Musk, we didn't expect you." "I need to speak with Principal Davis," his father said politely but firmly. "It's important." They were ushered into the principal's office immediately. Principal Davis, a tall man with thinning hair and a bow tie, rose so quickly that he knocked over his coffee mug. "Mr. Musk, what an unexpected honor," he exclaimed, fumbling to clean up the spilled coffee and reaching out his hand to shake. "I wish it were under better circumstances," his father said calmly, shaking the principal's hand briefly before sitting down. He motioned for Kai to sit beside him. Principal Davis's smile faltered. "Is there anything wrong?" "My son has been bullied numerous times at this school," his father stated. "His property has been vandalized, his personal journal destroyed, and he has been physically threatened. Nothing has been done about it." Principal Davis appeared stunned. "This is the first I've heard about it." Because Kai was afraid to speak out. "But now we are speaking up together." His father's voice was calm but firm. Principal Davis looked at Kai and then back at his father. "Mr. Musk, I assure you that we have a zero-tolerance policy against bullying." "If I had known, you should have known," his father interjected. "That is your job." The principal's face flushed. "You're absolutely correct. I will immediately launch an investigation. The perpetrators will be disciplined appropriately." Kai tensed, picturing how much worse things would be if Brady and his friends got into trouble because of him. But then his father did something totally unexpected. "Actually," he said, leaning forward, "I'd like to suggest another solution. Rather than punishment, I'd like to provide an opportunity for education." Principal Davis appeared confused. "I am not sure I understand." "I'd like to come to school in 2 weeks to give a special presentation to the entire 5th grade, his father explained. "Discussing Mars, space travel, and the future." He turned to Kai. "With my son serving as my assistant presenter." Kai's eyes widened. He hadn't expected this at all. "Do you want to give a presentation?" Principal Davis inquired, sounding confused and excited. "Yes. One that will include some very special technology developed at SpaceX." His father gave Kai a thoughtful look. "Technology has the potential to forever change how schools deal with bullying." Principal Davis practically fell over himself to say yes. "This is an excellent opportunity for our students, Mr. Musk. We'd be honored." As they left the office, Kai whispered to his father. "Do you want me to help you present in front of everyone?" His father nodded. "You're an expert on what children require to feel safe at school. Who better to explain this?" Kai was unsure about that. But, for the first time in months, he felt hopeful that things could change. Phase 1 was complete, his father whispered as they walked out of the school. Kai's life changed dramatically over the course of the next 2 weeks. Every day after school, his father would wait in the pickup line. They'd drive straight to SpaceX, where Kai could watch the robot, now known as TESS, Teaching Enhancement Support System, take shape. "What are your thoughts?" Preshia inquired on the 4th day while showing Kai her design sketches. "Scary or friendly?" Kai studied the drawings. The initial design looked too much like a box with eyes. The second was better. Rounded edges, a screen for a face that can display various expressions, and wheels for movement. "The second one," Kai suggested, "but make it a little taller, like the height of a desk, so children can talk to it face to face." Preshia smiled. "Good thinking." The best part was working with his father every night. They would eat dinner at home and then spread out in the living room to prepare for their presentation. "Mars will be the greatest adventure in human history," his father said as they worked on their slides. "But it will also be the most challenging." What do you believe children your age would find most interesting about it? Kai thought about it. Probably the dangerous parts, like dust storms and radiation, and how we'd survive there, what we'd eat, where we'd sleep, and so on. His father nodded. Then that is what we will concentrate on. They worked on incredible slides that depict Mars habitats, spacesuits, and the journey to get there. His father even included a whole section about the special toilets Kai designed in his ruined journal. Did you remember those? Kai inquired, surprised. Of course I did, his father replied. It was a clever design. We're working on something similar for the starship. At school, things were strange. Everyone had heard about his father's upcoming visit. Kids who had never spoken to Kai before suddenly wanted to sit with him for lunch. They bombarded him with questions about rockets, Mars, and whether his father had actually invented PayPal. Brady and his friends kept their distance, suspiciously eyeing Kai. Kai once noticed Brady staring at him in the hallway with an unreadable expression. "What is your father going to talk about?" Brady finally asked him during PE, when they were forming teams for kickball. "Space stuff," Kai said vaguely. "Mars colonies." Brady appeared to want to say more, but Owen called him over to be the team captain, and the moment passed. The most exciting days were when Kai was able to visit the special lab where Tess was being built. He watched as engineers put together her metal frame, wheels, and brain, which is a powerful computer loaded with special artificial intelligence programs. Preshia announced the big test today, 1 week into the project. Tess will attempt to identify emotional states through facial expressions. Kai watched as Tessa's camera focused on various engineers making faces. Happy, sad, angry, and scared. Her analysis would be displayed on her screen. Happiness detected. Confidence, 92%. Preshia said, "Now comes the hard part. Let's see if she can recognize when someone is being bullied." The engineers acted out various scenarios. One pretends to push another. One person takes something from another's hands. Someone is saying mean things. Test screen flashed each time. Possible bullying detected. "I am recording the incident." Preshia told Kai's father that she's learning quickly, but she still struggles with subtle forms of bullying, exclusion, backhanded compliments, and the like. "Keep working on it," his father said. "We need her to catch everything." Tess had finally finished her presentation 3 days before. She appeared impressive. About 4 feet tall, with a smooth white exterior and a friendly blue screen that could show a variety of expressions. She could move easily around a room, recognize faces, and respond to voice commands. Preshia suggested that we introduce her to Kai properly. They positioned Kai in front of Tess' camera. Her screen lit up. "Hello, Kai Musk," Tess said with a pleasant voice. "It is nice to meet you." Kai couldn't stop grinning. "Hello, Tess." "Kai is sad today," Preshia stated abruptly. Tess focused her camera on Kai's face. Analyzing. The emotional state appears to be excitement, not sadness. Confidence, 87%. Kai exclaimed, "She got it right." Preshia agreed that she was pretty smart. And she will keep learning. The more she interacts with students, the better she will understand them. Kai was unable to sleep the night before his big presentation. He tossed and turned, thinking about everything that could go wrong. What happens if he forgets what to say? What if the children laughed at him? What if Tess doesn't work properly? He must have made more noise than he realized, because his door opened and his father poked his head inside. "Can't sleep?" his father inquired. Kai sat up. "I am too nervous. What happens if I mess up tomorrow?" His father walked in and sat on the edge of the bed. "Do you want to practice your part again?" Kai sighed. "I know it by heart. I am just scared." "Of what?" "That everybody will laugh at me. That this entire situation will exacerbate rather than improve matters." His father was quiet for a moment. I get really nervous before every rocket launch. I feel ill. Do you? Kai could not imagine his father being scared of anything. Absolutely. Sometimes I can barely eat breakfast. I can't stop thinking about everything that could go wrong. But you don't appear nervous on television. That's because I figured out what gets me through it, his father explained. What? Believing that what I am doing is more important than my fear. His father looked directly into Kai's eyes. Kai, what we do tomorrow matters. It matters to you. And it matters to all the other children who are bullied on a daily basis. Kai thought about it. I suppose that helps a little. Remember that it's okay if things don't go exactly as planned. As you may be aware, the first 3 SpaceX rockets exploded. What if it doesn't work? Kai asked. What happens if Tess does not stop the bullying? What happens if nothing changes? Then we'll try something else, his father explained simply. That is what we do. We try. We fail. We fix. We try again. That made sense to Kai. After all, that's how rockets were built. Not everything works the first time. Okay, Kai replied. I will try. His father smiled and ruffled his hair. That's my boy. Now, get some sleep. Tomorrow is a big day. Kai lay back down after his father left. He still felt nervous, but something had changed. His dad was correct. What they were doing was important. It was worth being scared about. Tomorrow, everything would change. He just wasn't sure if it would be for better or worse. The following morning, Kai awoke with butterflies in his stomach. He barely touched his breakfast, despite the fact that Ms. Patel had prepared his favorite blueberry waffles. You need to eat something, his father said, looking up from his coffee. I can't have my co-presenter fainting on stage. Kai took a few bites. Is Tess ready? Prisha is bringing her directly to school. She will meet us there. When they arrived at Westlake Academy, the parking lot was unusually busy. Kai noticed news vans with tall antennas and reporters standing near the entrance. Kai's stomach tightened even more as he asked, why are there news people here? Principal Davis may have mentioned my visit to a few people, his father admitted with a small smile. Don't worry, they aren't allowed inside during the presentation. This is only for the students. Inside, the school was alive with excitement. Teachers spoke in hushed, eager tones as Kai and his father passed by. Students pressed up against classroom windows to catch a glimpse of the famous Elon Musk. Kai heard whispers following them down the corridor. Principal Davis greeted them outside the auditorium, practically bouncing on his toes. Mr. Musk and Kai, we are delighted to welcome you here today. He lowered his voice dramatically, as the entire 5th grade had already taken their seats. Your special guest entered through the back entrance, as requested. Thank you, his father said. We will need a few minutes to set up. Principal Davis led them to a small room behind the stage, where Preshia waited with Tess. Preshia reported that everything was working perfectly. I performed a full diagnostic this morning. Tess is prepared to go. Tess' screen lit up when she saw Kai. Hello, Kai. My sensors detect increased heart rate and perspiration. Are you feeling anxious? Kai couldn't stop laughing. Yes, you could say that. Tess offered a helpful suggestion, deep breathing can help reduce anxiety. Would you like me to lead you through a calming exercise? Maybe later, his father said. Right now, we need to prepare for the presentation. He turned to Kai. Remember, as we practiced, I will introduce you after the Mars habitat section. Kai nodded, his mouth too dry to talk. A few minutes later, they could hear Principal Davis on stage, his voice booming over the speakers. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Elon Musk, one of our time's greatest innovators. The auditorium erupted with applause. His father squeezed Kai's shoulder once before walking out onto the stage. Kai peeked through the curtain. The entire fifth-grade class sat in the auditorium, about 100 students, all staring at his father with wide eyes. Kai spotted Brady in the third row, who appeared both impressed and uncomfortable. "Thank you for the warm welcome," his father began. "I'm excited to be here today to discuss something very important to me, the future of humanity on Mars." The presentation started exactly as they had practiced. His father showed him amazing videos of rocket launches, rover images of Mars, and simulations of what a Mars colony might look like. The children gasped and whispered to one another. Even the teachers seemed captivated. Then came the part that Kai had been waiting for. "Now I'd like my colleague to explain how we design the living quarters for Mars," his father announced. "Please welcome my son Kai." Kai's feet felt glued to the floor for a brief period of time, but then he remembered what his father had said. What they were doing was important. He took a deep breath and walked on stage. Some children snickered. Brady whispered to Owen, who laughed. However, many students simply looked curious. "Hello," Kai began, his voice shaking slightly. He cleared his throat before trying again. "Hello. To keep people safe on Mars, special buildings will be required." As he went on, his voice became more powerful. He explained how the habitats would protect people from radiation, how they would recycle water and grow food in special greenhouses, and how they would generate oxygen from carbon dioxide on Mars. He showed pictures of designs he had drawn himself, which his father had recreated after the original journal was destroyed. "Living on Mars will be the most difficult thing humans have ever attempted," Kai concluded. "However, it will also be the most exciting adventure." To his surprise, many of the students were paying attention. Some people even nod along. Brady kept making spaceship noises whenever Kai spoke, but he was constantly silenced by other children who wanted to hear. His father stepped forward again. "Thanks, Kai. Now for something special. Kai and I, along with our engineers, have been planning a surprise." He nodded at Precious, who was standing in the back of the auditorium. The lights dimmed, the back doors opened, and Precious wheeled Tess in, covered in a large sheet. Everyone turned to look as Precious led Tess down the center aisle and up the ramp to the stage. His father assisted her in putting Tess on center stage. His father announced dramatically, "The future of education," before pulling off the sheet. The auditorium erupted with gasps and exclamations. Tessa's screen displayed a friendly smile. She slowly turned the camera, scanning the audience. "This is Tess, the Teaching Enhancement Support System," his father explained. "She's an AI robot created to assist schools. She can tutor students who need extra help, help teachers, and..." His tone grew serious. "She has another important feature that we added specifically for this school." He turned to Kai and nodded. This was the moment they had planned for. Kai moved forward, his heart pounding. He had practiced these words countless times, but saying them in front of everyone felt different.
Kai explained that Tess uses special cameras and microphones to record everything. His voice is now steady. "Tessie, if a student is bullied, we will record it and send the video to the principal and parents."
The room became completely quiet. Brady's face turned white as he stood in the third row. "We are donating Tess to Westlake Academy as a pilot program," his father explained. "If it works well here, we intend to put one in every school in America. No child should have to be afraid in school." Principal Davis appeared shocked but quickly recovered. "Mr. Musk, this is an incredible gift. We are honored to be the first school. Tess will begin monitoring all common areas tomorrow," his father stated. "In addition, she recognizes faces and knows the names of all the students." A murmur spread throughout the audience. Several children sat up straight in their seats. Brady sank down, attempting to make himself smaller. "Let us demonstrate," his father suggested. "Tess, who is the boy in the fifth row, wearing a blue shirt?" Tessa's camera swiveled to focus on a boy wearing glasses. "Zach Martin, 11, is in Ms. Garcia's fifth grade class." Zach's eyes widened in surprise as the children turned to look at him. Kai asked Tess, "Who is that boy in the blue shirt in the third row?" pointing to Brady. Tess turned. "Brady Thompson, age 10, is in Mrs. Allen's 5th grade class." Brady seemed to want to disappear. "Any questions?" his father asked the stunned audience. Dozens of hands went up. For the next 20 minutes, the children asked questions about Tess. How did she work? Could she help with the homework? Did she have to be charged? Can she tell when someone is lying? As the presentation ended and the children filed out, many of them approached the stage to get a closer look at Tess. Some even approached Kai with questions about Mars and robots. Zara from his class told him his habitat designs were actually quite impressive. Tyler wanted to know if Tess could play chess. Brady remained as far from the stage as possible. Later, as Kai and his father were packing up their presentation materials, Kai wondered if Tess would really be in every school. His father smiled. "That is the plan. Starting with the areas that require it the most." For the first time in months, Kai felt hopeful that things at Westlake Academy would improve. The next day at school was like being in another world. When Kai walked into Mrs. Allen's classroom, the students actually said hello to him. Some even moved their desks closer to his. Brady, however, represented the most significant change. The usual king of the classroom now walked with his head down, eyes darting around as if searching for cameras. He maintained his distance from everyone, particularly Kai. Kai stepped into the hallway during morning break and nearly jumped when he saw Tess rolling towards him. Several young children followed her, fascinated. Tess said, "Hello, Kai. How are you doing today?" "I'm fine," Kai said, still amazed that the robot he helped create was here, in his school. Tess noticed that your emotional indicators point to a positive mood. "I'm pleased." A small crowd had gathered around them. Children bombarded Kai with questions about Tess. How intelligent was she? Can she play games? Did she have feelings? "She's an artificial intelligence, so she learns through experience," Kai explained, repeating what Prisha had told him. "The more she interacts with others, the better she understands them." "Can she tell when someone is being mean?" asked Mia, a quiet girl who frequently sat alone at lunchtime. "Yes," Kai said. "She observes how people interact and can identify when someone is being bullied." "What happens then?" another student asked. "She videotapes it and sends it to Principal Davis and the parents," Kai explained. The children exchanged wide-eyed glances. Kai noticed several people looking at Brady, who was hovering at the edge of the group. Mrs. Allen appeared different in class, as well. She called Kai more often and actually listened to his responses. When he mentioned an idea for a science project about growing plants in Martian soil, she suggested he expand on it rather than dismiss it as overly complicated. The most surprising thing happened during lunch. Kai was sitting in his usual spot when Zara sat down beside him. "She complimented you on your Mars habitat designs. I like that you included hydroponics." "Thank you," Kai responded, surprised. "I have been reading about how astronauts grow food on the EE space station." Tyler then joined them, carrying his space encyclopedia to show Kai. Soon, there were 5 kids at the table, discussing Mars, robots, and space travel. Kai could not believe it. He'd gone from sitting alone every day to having the busiest table in the cafeteria. From across the room, he noticed Brady watching. Brady was not surrounded by his usual group this time. He sat with only Owen, picking at his food. Kai's father was in the pickup line after school, as he always was. As Kai got into the car, his father inquired, "How was it?" "Different," Kai said. "Really? Different? Is it better or worse being different?" "Better," Kai admitted. "Brady stayed away while the kids talked to me." His father nodded. "That's great, but keep in mind that the goal is more than just scaring him. It's to help him understand." Kai wasn't sure what his father meant, but he was too happy with his good day to worry about it. The following week went the same way. Tess became a familiar sight in the halls, assisting students with questions, reminding them of school rules, and keeping watch. Bullying incidents decreased almost overnight, not only for Kai but for everyone. Principal Davis called Kai's father almost every day without providing any updates. Tess was performing better than anyone expected. Teachers reported that classes were calmer, students were more focused, and discipline issues had significantly decreased. Then, a week and a half after Tess arrived, something unexpected occurred. Kai was in the library for free reading when Brady approached him. Kai immediately tensed up and looked around for Tess. "Relax," Brady said quietly. "I just want to talk." Kai did not respond, just waited. He noticed Brady appeared different, less confident, perhaps even nervous. Brady finally replied, "Your robot is pretty cool." "Thank you," Kai responded cautiously. "Does she record everything?" "So, all the time?" Kai considered how to respond. The truth was that Tess only recorded when she noticed potential bullying situations. But it might have been better if Brady assumed she was always watching. Before Kai could make a decision, Tess rolled into the library. Brady jumped as soon as he saw her. "Hello, Brady." Tess said, "Hello, Kai. Is everything fine here?" "Yes," Kai said. "We are just talking." Tess' camera focused on them briefly before moving on to assist a first-grade student in finding a book. Brady watched her leave before returning his attention to Kai. "I wanted to say something." He paused, looking uneasy. "I wanted to apologize for your rocket and journal." Kai looked at him in shock. Was Brady Thompson apologizing? "That wasn't cool," Brady added. "I was just. I do not know. It was stupid." Kai agreed, finding his voice. Brady looked down at his shoes. "My father insists that I invite you to my birthday party next weekend, but you are unlikely to accept." Kai wasn't sure what to say. Was this a trick? Or was Brady just trying to be nice? Kai finally responded, "I'll think about it." Brady nodded and walked away, leaving Kai stunned. Brady's apology was the last thing he expected. That night, Kai informed his father about the encounter. Kai, still stunned, said, "He actually apologized. But I'm not sure if he meant it, or if his parents forced him to do it." His father considered this as he stirred the spaghetti sauce he was preparing for dinner. Cooking together had become part of their new routine. "People can change," his father said. "Sometimes all they need is a reason to." "So you think I should attend his party?" "It's up to you. Do you want to?" Kai thought about it. "I am not sure. What if it's all a setup to embarrass me?" "Tess cannot protect you from everything," his father explained gently. "Eventually, you'll have to decide who to believe." The next day at school, Kai noticed Brady surrounded by his old friends again. But something was different. When Brady spotted Kai, he instructed him to give a small nod rather than his usual smirk. Later, during science class, Mrs. Allen divided them into groups for a solar system project. Kai ended up in the same group with Brady. Brady announced, "I'll do Jupiter," as they divided the planets. He then added, "Unless you want it, since you are the space expert." "Mars is my favorite," Kai replied. "You can have Jupiter." Brady smiled slightly. "Its large storm is pretty cool." "The Great Red Spot," Kai explained. "It has been going for hundreds of years." Brady exclaimed, "That is amazing." And he actually appeared to mean it. As the days passed, Kai realized Tess wasn't just changing how the kids behaved when teachers were present. She was influencing how they perceived each other. Kids who used to ignore him now seek his assistance with science homework. Younger students looked up to him as the robot kid, but in a positive way, not as an insult. Even Brady was unique. Not quite a friend, but not an enemy either. Something in between. Kai made his decision after 2 weeks of attending school with Tess. He would attend Brady's party. Not because he fully trusted Brady, but because he was no longer afraid. That, Kai realized, was the most significant change of all. Brady's birthday party was held at the local trampoline park. Kai stood outside, holding a wrapped present, a space-themed book that he thought was cool. His father waited in the car, watching. "Do you want me to come in with you?" his father asked through the open window. "No," Kai replied, despite his nervous stomach. "I got this. Call me if you require anything. I will be back in 2 hours." Kai nodded and walked towards the entrance. Brady's mother greeted him at the door with a huge smile. "You must be Kai. Brady will be overjoyed you came. The boys are already inside." Kai followed her into the noisy trampoline area. Approximately 10 students from school were already jumping and laughing. Brady noticed him and moved over. "You arrived." Brady sounded genuinely surprised. "Yes," Kai replied, handing him the present. "Happy birthday." Brady accepted the gift. "Thanks. Want to jump? We have the entire place for 2 hours." The party was actually enjoyable. They played trampoline dodgeball and took turns flipping into a foam pit. Kai wondered if Brady chose the chocolate birthday cake with rocket decorations specifically for him. The strangest moment occurred when Brady opened Kai's present. He seemed very excited about the space book, showing everyone pictures of nebulas and black holes. Brady said, "This is awesome. Did your father help you choose it?" "No," Kai replied. "I bought it because it is my favorite." Brady later sat next to Kai while they ate pizza. "Is it true that your father is building a colony on Mars?" he asked. Kai nodded with suspicion. "Is Brady making fun of him again?" "That's actually quite cool," Brady admitted. "My father sells insurance." Kai couldn't help smiling a little. "Mars will also require insurance, as you are aware. Space is dangerous." Brady grinned. "Never considered that." It wasn't an apology for the months of bullying, but it was a beginning. Over the next few weeks, other things changed. Mrs. Allen announced that she was starting a space science club, and Kai was surprised when 15 kids, including Brady, signed up. They made model rockets together, and this time no one broke Kai's rocket. Tess became everybody's favorite teacher. She helped students with math problems, reminded them of their homework, and played music during lunch. But everyone knew her most important job was to keep an eye out for bullying, which changed how kids interacted with one another. One day, Kai overheard Brady tell Owen to stop making fun of a first grader. "Dude, that's not cool," Brady said. "Would you like it if someone did that to you?" Kai could not believe his ears. Was this the same Brady who had been terrorizing him for months? Even at home, things were different. Kai's father now makes time for dinner with him at least 3 times per week. They talked about school, space, and the future. They continued to visit SpaceX in the evenings, but only to collaborate on projects. Not because his father needed to work late. His father told him one night while they were washing dishes together, "I'm really proud of how you handled everything." Kai shrugged, embarrassed. "I did not do anything. You fixed everything with Tess." "No, Kai, you did the hardest part. Rather than suffer alone, you told me the truth. That requires significant courage." Kai thought about it. He had been afraid to tell his father about the bullying, fearing that he would be perceived as weak. But telling the truth had made things better. When other students at school had problems, they began to approach Kai. When an older child continued to take his basketball, a second-grade student asked for his assistance. 2 girls in his class informed him about a mean group chat that excluded people. Kai wasn't sure why they were approaching him until Zara explained that you're Tessa's friend. Everyone knows you helped create her. The biggest surprise came when Principal Davis asked Kai to assist with tours for visitors from other schools who came to see Tess in action. Principals and teachers from across the city wanted to learn more about the anti-bullying robot. Principal Davis told him that you are the best person to explain how TESS works, and the students respect you. That was the strangest change of all, being respected rather than picked on. Brady joined Kai's tour one afternoon as he demonstrated to a group how TESS could identify emotional states. Brady told the visitors that TESS had also helped him. I used to be rude to other kids, he said, looking at Kai. But TESS taught me to consider how others feel. After the visitors had left, Kai asked Brady, "Did you really mean that about TESS helping you?" Brady appeared uneasy, but nodded. Before TESS, I had never considered how it felt to be on the other side. My father always says you have to be tough or people will walk all over you. Kai added, my dad also says that. But he also says that being tough does not imply making others feel bad. Brady remained quiet for a moment. Your father is pretty cool for an alien. Kai laughed. It was the first time Brady's jokes had made him laugh rather than hurt. When his father picked him up that evening, Kai told him about Brady's comment during the tour. His father commented that he appears to be maturing. People can change if you give them the opportunity. Kai inquired, did you anticipate this outcome when you created TESS? His father smiled. I hoped it would. The best technology does not simply solve problems. It encourages people to become better versions of themselves. Kai reflected on how different school felt now, not just because the kids weren't bullying him anymore, but because they were actually nice to one another. TESS had changed the entire school culture. Do you think other schools will get TESS robots? Kai inquired. That's the plan, his father explained. But first, we need to make sure she's functioning properly here. Kai spoke confidently. She's performing better than expected. And it was true. TESS wasn't just preventing bullying. She was teaching children something that no amount of school rules or punishment could have taught them, how to be kind. A news crew arrived at Westlake Academy 2 months after TESS did. Kai watched from his classroom window as they unloaded cameras and microphones from a van bearing the Channel 7 logo. Zara asked, standing beside him, why are they here? Kai explained that Principal Davis had mentioned that they were working on a story about TESS. Bullying incidents have dropped by 87% since she arrived. Zara exclaimed, that is amazing. Kai shrugged. Do you think you'll be interviewed? I do not know. But an hour later, Principal Davis arrived to collect him. Kai, the reporters want to speak with you and your father about TESS. When Kai arrived, his father was already in the conference room. When they walked in, a woman with short blonde hair dressed in a bright blue blazer stood up. This must be Kai, she said warmly. I'm Lisa Chen with Channel 7 News. We are doing a special report on TESS and how she has impacted your school. Kai nodded nervously. A camera was set up in the corner, with its lens pointing at 2 chairs where his father sat. Don't worry, Lisa reassured him. Just talk to me as if we were having a normal conversation. Pretend the camera is not there. This was easier said than done. When the interview began, Kai felt his face become hot and his palms sweaty. However, Lisa initially asked simple questions about his school, interests, and what he wanted to be when he grew up. Kai, a Martian colonist, responded without hesitation. Lisa smiled as she expressed her desire to help build the first city on Mars. Like father, like son, she remarked. Then her expression became more serious. Kai, could you tell me what school was like before TESS arrived? Kai looked at his father, who gave him an encouraging nod. Kai took a deep breath and told his story. Regarding the broken rocket at show and tell. About being referred to as Rocket Boy and Alien. Regarding the journal that was ruined in the milk puddle. As he spoke, he felt an odd relief. Things that had previously hurt so much now seemed distant, as if they had happened to someone else. How are things different now? Lisa asked. Everything is different, Kai explained. Kids are nicer to one another. Not just me, but everyone. We have a space science club now. And I have friends. Do you believe TESS is the reason? Kai thought about it. Partly. At first, kids were afraid of being caught by her. But it's as if they've realized that being nice feels better than being mean. Lisa seemed impressed. That is a very insightful observation. Next, she asked his father why he created Tess and what his long-term plans were for the technology. We hope to have Tess robots in schools across the country within the next 5 years, his father said. However, technology alone is not the answer. It is about changing the culture, creating environments in which kindness is valued over dominance. Lisa asked after the interview if she could film Tess interacting with the students. Kai led her to the library, where Tess was assisting a class of third graders with their research projects. "Hello, Tess," Kai said. "This is Lisa Chen from the newsroom. She'd like to know what you do here." Tess directed her camera towards Lisa. "Hello, Lisa. Welcome to Westlake Academy. How can I assist you?" Lisa looked overjoyed. "Could you tell me about your role at the school?" Tess responded, "My primary function is to support students and teachers. I assist students with academic tasks, keep an eye out for safety concerns, and encourage positive social interactions." "And how do you stop bullying?" Lisa asked. "I identify potential bullying situations using visual and audio analysis. I recognize distressing facial expressions, body language, and voice tone patterns. When I notice a concerning interaction, I give a verbal reminder about appropriate behavior. If necessary, I record the incident and notify the school administration." As Tess spoke, a small group of students gathered, watching with interest. Kai spotted Brady among them. "Would you like to tell me how Tess has helped you?" Lisa asked the students. To Kai's surprise, Brady stepped forward. "She helped me realize I was being a bully," he explained. "I hadn't considered it that way before. I thought I was joking around." Lisa appeared surprised, but recovered quickly. "What impact has this had on you?" Brady said, "I have real friends now. Not only do kids hang out with me because they are afraid of me." The news story aired the next week. Kai and his father watched it together on the living room couch, sharing a bowl of popcorn. Lisa's voice was heard over footage of Tess rolling through the school hallways, announcing that Westlake Academy in Silicon Valley had discovered an innovative solution to bullying. Meet Tess, an AI robot created by SpaceX and Tesla founder Elon Musk. The camera cut to an interview with his father, then to Kai discussing his experiences. Seeing himself on television was strange. He sounded younger than he thought, but also more confident than he anticipated. When the segment ended, Kai commented, "Dad, they made it seem like it was all your idea. They didn't mention that I helped design Tess." His father replied, "That's how the media works sometimes. They simplify stories to suit their narrative. But you and I understand the truth." The following morning, Kai's phone vibrated with a notification. Zara had sent him a link to the message. "You are currently trending." The news story had been shared online and was quickly going viral. It had already garnered millions of views. And the comments section was flooded with messages from parents and students wondering how they could get Tess into their schools. The direct messages, however, were what surprised Kai the most. Dozens, then hundreds, of children from across the country wrote to him. They recognized him from the news story and wanted to talk about their own bullying experiences. "Every day, I get called names because I use a wheelchair. Nobody will sit with me at lunch because my clothes are uncool. My teacher does nothing when students make fun of my accent." The stories broke Kai's heart. He showed some of them to his father that evening. Kai scrolled through the messages on his tablet and said, "Dad, all these kids need help. They're wondering when their schools will get Tess robots." His father looked through the messages with a serious expression. "There are many children suffering out there. Can't we make more robots faster?" His father sighed. "We're trying, but the situation is complicated. Each test unit must be programmed specifically for its school, and they are expensive to build." "So, what happens to all these children while they wait?" Kai asked. His father was quiet for a moment, thinking, we can't build enough robots for every school right now. But perhaps we can do something else in the meantime. Like, what? I am not sure yet. His father looked at Kai thoughtfully, but I believe you are the right person to figure it out. Kai stared at his father. Me? What might I do? You've been bullied firsthand, and now you see how many others are going through the same thing. Sometimes the best solutions come from those who understand the problem from the inside. Kai returned his attention to the flood of messages on his tablet. Each one came from a real kid who was hurting, just like him. If Tess couldn't help them all right away, perhaps there was something else he could do. For the first time, Kai saw his painful experiences as something useful, a way to understand what other children were going through. Maybe his dad was correct. Perhaps he was the perfect person to figure out how to help. Kai couldn't stop thinking about the kids who had reached out to him. The next day at school, he found himself distracted in math class, doodling ideas in his notebook rather than solving equations. Kai? Mrs. Allen's voice interrupted his thoughts. Can you tell us how to resolve this issue? Kai looked up at the board, but his thoughts were blank. Sorry, Mrs. Allen, I was not paying attention. Instead of becoming upset, Mrs. Allen approached his desk and looked at his notebook. What are you working on? It looks intriguing. Kai had been sketching a website layout with sections labeled, Share Your Story, Get Help. He had not intended anyone to see it. It's nothing, he muttered, attempting to close the notebook. Mrs. Allen stated, It does not appear to be nothing. Does this have anything to do with Tess? Kai hesitated before deciding to tell the truth. Sort of. Following the news story, many students from other schools messaged me about being bullied. They all want Tess in their schools, but my father says we can't build them quickly enough. Mrs. Allen appeared thoughtful. So you're trying to find another way to help these kids? Kai nodded. That sounds more important than today's math lesson, she remarked, surprising him. Why not share your ideas with the class? Perhaps we can help. Mrs. Allen spoke to the entire room before Kai could protest. Everyone, Kai is working on a special project. I believe we can all learn something from it. 25 pairs of eyes turned to face him. A month ago, Kai would have considered this his worst nightmare. But now, he took a deep breath and walked to the front of the class, holding his notebook. So, after the Tess news story, I got messages from kids all over who are being bullied, he began. They require assistance, but they cannot all receive Tess robots right away. I was thinking of another way to help them. Like, what? Asked Zara. I am not sure yet. Perhaps a website where children can share their experiences and receive advice? But I do not know. How to create a website? I do, Zara offered. My mom is a web designer. She showed me how to code basic websites. What if we create a website? Zara suggested. Kids could share their stories and receive advice. Brady, who had been silent, abruptly spoke up. Alternatively, we could make a pledge that schools could take. Everyone seemed surprised to hear this from him. He shrugged. What? I know I've been a jerk before. Mrs. Allen encouraged Brady by saying, That's a good idea. More ideas started flowing. Tyler suggested making videos about how to handle bullies. Emma believed they should include a section for parents and teachers. Even Owen, Brady's bullying sidekick, had ideas for making schools safer. They had a plan by the end of math class, which never resumed. They planned to establish an online community for children who felt excluded from their peers. They'd call it Rocket Kids. Why Rocket Kids? Asked Tyler. Kai smiled. Even if you're knocked down today, you can still reach for the stars tomorrow. Kai couldn't wait to tell his father about his plans after school. To his surprise, his father was so excited that he immediately scheduled a meeting with some of his tech friends. This is exactly what I was hoping for, his father told Kai as they drove to the meeting. a grassroots solution developed by the children themselves. The meeting took place at a coffee shop in Palo Alto. 3 people waited for them. A woman with curly red hair who ran a popular social media platform, a man wearing glasses who developed educational software, and another man who worked for his father's companies. "This is Kai, my son, whom his father introduced. And he has an idea that I believe you will enjoy hearing about." Kai felt nervous. But as he explained the Rocket Kids concept, the adults began to nod and take notes. The woman with red hair stated, "We could build this platform in a week. Simple interface, strong privacy protections for children. And we need content moderators," said the man in glasses, "to ensure that it remains a safe environment." His father said, "I'll fund it whatever it takes." Within a week, the Rocket Kids website was live and operational. Kai and his classmates were the first to join, sharing their test-taking experiences and the changes they noticed. Kai posted about his broken rocket and ruined journal, but he also mentioned how things had improved. Brady wrote about his side of the story, how he had no idea how hurtful his jokes were until Tess helped him see things from others' perspectives. His post, titled, "I Was a Bully," became one of the most popular on the website. Kai's father helped promote the site through his extensive social media following. Other tech leaders also shared it. The story was picked up by several news outlets. Kids form online communities to combat bullying. Within a month, Rocket Kids had thousands of members from all 50 states and several other countries. Kids shared their stories, offered each other support, and devised strategies to combat bullying in their own schools. The website had several sections.
Share your story, allowing children to discuss their own experiences. Get assistance with resources for children in crisis. School solutions, with ideas for students to present to their principals.
And Tess provides updates on which schools will receive robots next. Kai's school project made national headlines again. He was invited to appear on children's television shows to discuss it. He was repeatedly asked the same question. "Why are you calling it Rocket Kids?" And Kai always gave the same response. "Even if you're knocked down today, you can still reach for the stars tomorrow."
Kai and his friends worked on Rocket Kids during lunch and after school. Mrs. Allen even gave them time during the science period to create new features for the website, referring to it as an applied technology project. Brady, who is now one of Kai's closest friends, helped run the website. He was especially effective at communicating with bullied children because he understood the bully's point of view. "I still can't believe I was admitted the same day they updated the website. When I read what some of these kids are going through, I feel terrible about how I treated you."
People can change, Kai stated. That's basically the whole point of what we're doing. At home, Kai noticed his father making more time for him. Not just for Rocket Kids, but also for everyday dad stuff. Helping with homework, watching movies together, and even teaching him how to prepare simple meals. One night, as they were making spaghetti, his father said, "Kai, Rocket Kids may end up helping more children than Tess ever could." "Really?" Kai was surprised. "But Tess actually prevents bullying from occurring." "True," his father nodded.
However, Tess is only one robot in one school at a time. Rocket Kids is currently reaching thousands of children, giving people hope and practical tools.
Sometimes the best technology isn't robots or computers. It's a community of people helping one another. Kai considered this as he stirred the Utabereste spaghetti sauce. His dad was correct. Tess had switched schools, but Rocket Kids was changing schools everywhere. Kids were printing out the Rocket Kids anti-bullying pledge and asking their classmates to sign it. They were forming their own space science clubs. They were standing up for each other, and it all began when his rocket broke during show and tell. Sometimes the worst moments in life resulted in the best changes. Kai suddenly asked, "Dad, remember when you told me that kids who are picked on often change the world when they grow up?" His father smiled. "I do. I believe I'm beginning to understand what you meant." It had been a year since Tess first arrived at Westlake Academy. Kai's life had changed so dramatically that he couldn't believe it. Lonely lunches. They whispered insults. Constant fear. Now he had friends. Genuine friends who admired him for who he was, not because his father was famous. The Space Science Club won first place in the regional science fair with their Mars habitat design. Rocket Kids had more than 100,000 members worldwide.
Tess, the robot that started it all, was now in 50 schools across the country, with hundreds more to come. Today was special. Kai was at the SpaceX facility with his father for an event to commemorate the completion of the new Mars habitat prototype.
Important people in suits and lab coats mingled around the life-size model habitat, sipping drinks and nodding as his father explained radiation shielding and water recycling systems. Kai had heard it all before and wandered away from the main group. That's when he noticed Precious standing alone near one of the computer displays, watching the crowd with a small smile.
Hello, Precious, Kai said, approaching her. Hello, Kai. Her blue glasses reflected the screen's glow.
Enjoying. What about the party? It's pretty cool, he admits. But I've seen the habitat stuff many times before, Precious laughed. I suppose you did. Doesn't your father always test new design ideas on you first? Kai nodded. He says I ask better questions than the majority of his engineers. He's probably correct. Precious sipped from her water bottle. How is Tess doing at your school? She's wonderful. Everyone loves her. Kai paused, then added, thanks for building her. You changed my life. Precious' brows rose above her glasses. I should thank you. Kai frowned. It was your idea, after all. What do you mean? It was my father's idea. That's not how your father describes it. Precious looked perplexed. He claims you drew the design in your journal. He found it later. She paused delicately. After that bad day at school, Kai's mind raced. His journal. The one that fell into the puddle. The one Brady and his friends had ruined. I don't understand, he explained slowly.
I drew a robot teacher once, but it was a ridiculous idea. Nothing like Tess. Your father brought your soggy journal to me and said, we need to build this, Precious continued.
He described it as the most important thing we would ever create at SpaceX. More important than traveling to Mars. Kai felt an unusual tightness in his chest. His father had never told him this, but the journal was ruined, he explained. The pages were stuck together, and the ink was smudged. We were able to separate the majority of the pages in the lab, Precious explained. Some of the drawings were blurry, but the robot teacher remained visible. You had made notes all around it. Watches out for bullies. Sends videos to the principal. Knows everybody's name. She smiled at the memory. Your father was very excited. He said, this is exactly what schools require. Kai's head was spinning. Tess, was that his idea? He'd always assumed his father had invented it to help him. He never told me, Kai said quietly. Precious replied, I think he wanted it to be a surprise. I'm surprised he didn't mention it afterward. Tess was built. A voice called out Precious' name from across the room.
She excused herself, leaving Kai alone with the shocking information. Kai observed his father in a new light for the remainder of the event. The way he spoke to people, and how he credited his engineers' ideas. The way he mentioned Kai's name whenever someone complimented the Mars habitat's clever water recycling system, which Kai had proposed during one of their evening meetings. When they arrived home that night, Kai waited until they were alone in the kitchen. His father was preparing their traditional post-event snack, grilled cheese sandwiches. Dad, Kai said, his voice serious. Why didn't you tell me that Tess was my idea? His father's hand paused briefly as he flipped a sandwich before continuing cooking. Ah, you spoke with Precious. She assumed I knew. She said you found my drawing in my journal after it was ruined. I sketched the robot teacher.
His father turned the stove off and faced Kai. I was planning to tell you eventually. When the timing was right. Why not right away? Why should I think it was all your idea? His father sat down at the kitchen table, motioning for Kai to join him. Because you needed to know that your ideas mattered. That you are important. Not because you are my son, but because your mind works in incredible ways. But it was just a drawing in my journal, Kai explained. A robot teacher who can stop bullies. It wasn't an actual invention. Every great invention began as an idea. Kai, the distinction is in what you do with it. His father's eyes were intense. When I found that drawing, I knew it would work. You solved the bullying problem in a way that no adult had considered. Not with more rules or punishments, but with consistent, caring supervision. Kai remembered the sketch now. He drew it the day after Brady tripped him and broke his rocket. A friendly robot with a screen face would patrol the hallways and keep children safe. Is this why you've started spending more time with me? Because you saw my drawing. His father appeared surprised, then a little sad. No, Kai. I began spending more time with you after realizing I was failing as a father. You were being bullied for months, and I didn't notice because I was too preoccupied with work. He reached across the table to take Kai's hand. The drawing demonstrated how brilliant you are, even when you are hurting. Kai felt tears forming but blinked them away. So everything, including tests and rocket kids, began with my drawing. The drawing was the starting point, but everything that followed was the result of everyone working together. You, me, Precia, your classmates, and even Brady. Brady does not know, does he? Was the test my idea? His father shook his head. Precia and a few engineers are the only ones who know. Good, Kai said. I do not want him to know. Why not? You should be recognized for your invention because it has the potential to change things. Brady believes Tess came from you, the big, important inventor. If he knew it was my idea, he might feel strange about it, as if I made Tess just to catch him being mean. His father looked at him for a moment. That's very thoughtful and wise, Kai. They ate their grilled cheese sandwiches while lost in thought. Finally, Kai spoke again. Do you think we'll actually be able to live on Mars one day? I do, his father said. Not just visit, but live there. Build cities, cultivate food, and raise families. It will be the greatest challenge humanity has ever faced. I still want to go, Kai said. When I am older. I know you do. His father smiled. And you will. But, you know what? I believe you're already doing something equally important as going to Mars. What is that? You're helping to make the world a better place to live. A kinder environment. His father's voice was gentle. Mars will always be present, waiting for us. However, the children in need require assistance right away. Kai reflected on all of the messages he received each day from Rocket Kids members. Children who were discovering their voices, standing up to bullies, and making friends for the first time. Kids who signed their messages with "Reaching for the Stars." The next day at school, Kai saw Tess in the hallway, surrounded by a group of first-grade students displaying their art projects. Her screen showed a cheerful expression as she complimented each child's work. It was difficult to believe that this sophisticated robot started as a simple sketch in his ruined journal. Brady stepped up beside him. Isn't it pretty amazing? How much everything has changed because of Tess. Yes, Kai agreed. Pretty amazing. My cousin's school will get a test next month, Brady explained. He cannot wait. He's been having a difficult time there. That's fantastic, Kai said. Tell him it will get better. I already did, Brady smiled. I also told him about Rocket Kids. He joined yesterday. As they walked to class together, Kai realized something significant. Sometimes the best way to reach the stars isn't in a rocket. It can sometimes be accomplished by assisting others in seeing the light within themselves. That's what really stunned everyone. Elon Musk did not build a robot to protect his son from bullying, but rather that a boy's simple drawing could change the world. A drawing created from pain and hope, smudged with milk and tears but clear enough to spark a kindness revolution. Kai had never considered himself capable of changing the world. He was just a kid who enjoyed rockets and space and preferred to be left alone. But his father had been right all along. Sometimes kids who are bullied as children go on to change the world as adults. Kai had not had to wait until he was older. He had already begun. That marked the end of our story. I hope you enjoyed reading about Kai, his father, and how one boy's idea transformed schools across the country. Where are you listening from today? I'd like to know what part of the world this story reached. If you enjoyed this story about overcoming bullying and the power of innovative thinking, please like it and subscribe to the channel for more inspirational content. Many more fascinating stories await you. Do not forget to share this video with your friends and family. We can all help create more compassionate communities for children around the world by sharing stories of kindness and awareness. Until next time, remember what Kai would say, even if you are knocked down today, you can still reach for the stars tomorrow.